Hey everybody, Max here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified series, Cobra Claw. Finally, I finally have a Cobra Claw in the classified line. I am so very happy because I loved this thing when I was a kid. I got so much fun out of playing with this thing, going up, sending it up against the Skyhawk. Storm Shadow was the first person we saw fly this thing in issue 21, and then he uses it again to rescue Cobra Commander in issue 24. It's just a great designed vehicle. And about 15 years ago, if I recall correctly, there was a man in England or France that built something almost identical to this. It's his own personal flying wing that he used to fly across the English Channel. And I don't know what happened to that guy. Hopefully he's still alive. But it just kind of shows that, yeah, this thing would actually work. And so, hey, I wouldn't mind having one of my own someday. So anyway, let's get this girl out of the package. This is the first Valkyrie that I have. I missed out on the Hasbro Pulse exclusive 2-pack Valkyries. And this is largely the same figure. There's a few changes and additions here and there, but it's pretty much the same figure. If you have the Valkyries, you know what I'm talking about. But we're here to talk about the claw. So this is my second. I bought two. So this one, I might open this one. Down the line. It really kind of speaks to me. I wouldn't mind having like a whole fleet of these, but I just really like this diorama shot. I like the package. I like the fact that it shows the figure. Just kind of brings back the childhood memories of getting a vehicle that came with a figure. It was like two presents. It was just awesome, and it's just really well presented here. And let me see. I've got my unboxed one behind there, and so here you have the back, and it comes pretty much as is. You have to add the ailerons and the wingtips. You just snap those in. That's the only thing you really have to do. Comes with what you see here. It's number 152, and it looks really cool. Here's some artwork on the side. Well, you can't see it because it's so big. So there you go. Just take my word for it. This is a really cool presentation. I really like this box. So that is the box. Let's talk about the figure and the claw and everything in between. Now, I was really pleased that I didn't have to put this thing together the way I did as a kid. Now, I remember the upper and lower uh, assembly kind of having a gap. I never could quite get it snapped together. In my memory, I was like, why is it that? I just remember there's a gap there, and I actually forgot that you had to put it together, and so I downloaded and printed out the instructions from yojo.com. And the original claw was essentially a snap together model. I mean, you had to put everything together, and it just kind of blows my mind that that's how it was packaged. that some assembly required. No, all assembly required. You want to play with this thing, you gotta put it together yourself. And it says supervision necessary for assembly. No kidding. So I think I did it myself. But like I said, the upper body and the lower body just didn't quite fit together. I think I had to use super glue or rubber bands or something to keep that gap closed. So, but like I said, I still had a blast playing with this thing, and even came with like even the bomb. It came with a bomb. You could kind of treat it like a drone. So before there were drones, this thing was a drone. So this one does not come with any bombs. It comes with a couple of missiles, but it has what you see here. In addition to, let's talk about the Valkyrie first. So she comes with 3 heads, and these are the same heads that came with in the 2-pack, just different colors. So you have a light skin and a dark skin. So that's great, and the details are really great, I gotta say. Let me add a little more light to the situation. So, like I said, it's the same design, just different coloring, and the paint's turned out really well. Eyes look really intense on both the light skin and the dark skin, so that's really cool. Very pleased with that. You have several options for display. Comes with 2 blast effects. And so you can either use you can attach these to the rockets or the jets, or there's I guess like a machine gun on top, or you can attach it to, it comes with this auto shotty here, this automatic shotgun. Oh, actually that does not fit. So the peg is just a little bit too big for the shotgun. So, but anyway, these came in their own little tray, so they're very straight, so they're not warped, which is kind of a rarity for blast effects like this. They always seem to be a little warped, but it comes with two of those. Comes with the Cobra stand, and like I said, the aforementioned auto shotty. I think this is really cool. I don't know. This might have come with another figure, another pack. I don't know. This is new to me, so let me know in the comment section if you know what, if this comes with somebody else or with something else. Let me know. But it's really cool. Drop down drum mag. Pretty good paint on the shells. I'm assuming 12 gauge. And whoops, I'm putting it backwards. It goes in like that. So, but it is a bit too big for this figure, and you can't even get, the handle is too big, and her hands are too small, and you can't even get her finger into the trigger guard. So I kind of saw that I kind of figured that from watching or looking at the promo pictures, and it was always my intention to give it to somebody else because I just felt like this is too big of a weapon for that figure. So since my buddy Breaker here doesn't come with anything but a knife. Or does it come? Yeah, a knife and a sidearm. I think this might be a good addition for Mr. Breaker here as he rescues the catalytic elements, the volcano. So if you haven't seen my review on Mr. Breaker, check that out. But I think I'm going to have display him with the auto shotgun. Let's see, what else? Okay, so figure comes with the officer's helmet, and then it has this face sculpt here that is probably, it's an oxygen mask, flight mask, something like that to protect from wind shear. Piloting something like that, exposed to the elements, you would need something like that, so it looks really cool. And I do believe that this is also a repaint of I think this particular head sculpt also comes with the Valkyrie 2-pack. So it's interesting. It's a gas mask, but I guess they're reusing it as a oxygen mask, what have you. So I mean, it does look more like a gas mask, but who am I to complain? So she comes with another Uzi with a suppressor. I'll keep her using that. Fits her just fine. Also comes with a Beretta it's got the extended barrel for a suppressor, so you can take and do it that way. Pretty big suppressor for this 1911 or 1911 Beretta 92, and it's similar to, I think this is the same holster as the one that comes with the Marine Sniper, and there is very little retention. It's a little better than the Marine Sniper, but it fits in there, but it's not, I think I'm already moving her around. I think it's already dropped out a couple of times. So just be aware of that. This holster is just a little too big. I think they should have given her something else, a bigger handgun perhaps, or come up with a smaller holster for this particular firearm. So she comes with that. Also, the officer's helmet doesn't want to stay on. At least this one doesn't. Maybe yours is better, but it fits on. It's supposed to fit on like that, but it doesn't really stay. So a little handy tack might go a long way for this particular figure because there's hardly any retention at all. It doesn't snap in place or anything like that. And so you've got that. It definitely fits better on the masthead, a lot better, but it's still just me taking off removing my finger. It doesn't want to stay on, so kind of have to push it down a bit. Maybe, I mean, it's already loose as it is. I don't know if heating up would make that any better, but I think handy tack might be the way to go. That's probably how I'll go. So let's dive into the figure and get her out of the way. It's a great figure. Don't get me wrong. This is I definitely want to pick up some Valkyries if they ever go back up on sale. So there's a couple of things. One kind of thing I have to ding it on is that she does not look up any higher than that, so you're going to have to bevel out some plastic out of the neck to get her to look up, which is also kind of a problem. This is the same upper body as the Marine Sniper, so the same neck piece, so it's a ball hinge, and she you may have to take out some plastic to get a little more range of motion there, which, she's flying a vehicle, right? I would want to be able to look ahead of me somehow, but I guess looking down on her prey, all that. Let's see. Same vest. I actually quite like this vest in black with the gray paint. That turned out really well. It covers the Cobra logo, about half of it, which, it is what it is. I'd like to be able to see it a little better, but I do like this particular vest in black. And the paint on the head sculpt and everything turned out really well. And it's got this, I mean, she turns side to side and woo, all that kind of stuff. She looks down that far. T-pose is pretty good. Bicep swivel, pretty good. Pinless joints. Now, her elbows on this one, the lower elbow is pretty tight. So I'm going to have to heat her up, or there we go. There we go. Okay, so there you go. If you had the Marine Sniper, you pretty much know what the range of motion is on this torso. So we have that. Vertical hinge on the wrists rotate around. Decent hands. Also comes with this little overlay on the wrist for, I guess that's like a topographic map, perhaps. Maybe remote controls, something along those lines. And kind of makes you wonder, like, how do you actually control, how do you fire the weapons and, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have the handheld thing here, so, it's fantasy military, so. But anyway, I do like this little piece here, the attention to detail. That's pretty cool, and it's not on there. You can take your hand off and remove it if you want to. So it's just cool to have. And I think this figure has a diaphragm cut, but you can't really get much range of motion out of it because of the vest. She turns side to side fairly well, and glad to see that the waist swivel is definitely better in some of these later figures, the most recent figures. So let's see. So we did the T-pose. Splits. Very good splits. And these are very good legs, I have to say, for the female figures. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that they reused Lady J's legs for the Marine Sniper. They could have just taken this. I would have been totally fine with this whole setup. Torso, legs, all of that for the Marine Sniper. That would have been totally fine. Not that I have anything against the Lady J legs. I know some people don't, but it turned out okay. But I don't know. These just seem just a little bit, just a tad better. They just seemed a little stronger and pretty good range of motion. You got the thigh swivel and drop down hips. Yep, a little on the stiff side, but she kicks up past 90 degrees. And then kicks back. Not that far. So not as far as some other figures, but still pretty good. And let's try that again. No, that's pretty good. And boot swivel. And if I recall correctly, looking at pictures, I think so she's all black with blue, so I think the color scheme is inverted on the Valkyrie. So where there's black on this figure, it's blue on the Valkyrie and vice versa. So there's that, and then pretty good range of motion on the foot, like what we've come to expect. Pretty good paint, I have to say, all around. I think this turned out very well. I'm very happy with this figure, and like I said before, if they ever go on sale again, I will probably pick up a few. I have a little, female squad for Cobra. So yeah, so that is the Cobra Valkyrie, the Cobra pilot, and let's get into the claw itself. So I showed in the thumbnail, obviously, the figure, the Valkyrie in this, attached, strapped in to the claw. And some people had some questions like, will it fit a male figure? And so obviously it does. Here's Storm Shadow, since he was the first person to use it. Just had to put him in it, and it has a waist, these straps here at the waist, and it's not, thankfully, not a peg-in system. It's a strap system, so you feed it through little holes here and just cinch it up, and you lift it up, and you can detach the hands from the control handles, and out he comes. And there's no peg hole or anything like that. So it's as near as I can tell, this is probably glued in, this harness. It maybe attached, I don't know. Somehow it's attached, but it's permanently affixed, so that's great. So, whew, okay, where to begin? Gosh, haven't done a vehicle, and I don't think I've reviewed a vehicle. So bear with me. This might be a little longer video, but let's just kind of, I guess we'll just start with the top. And so you had to, the flaps here, you had to snap those on, and they have pretty good range of motion, up and down. They get a little ratchet going. They hold their position, and then the wingtips, they fold up or down. I guess for storing. I don't know if that would affect flight, but in the original, the wingtips um, they extended in and out. They recessed in, and then you could extend them out, get a little more lift, a little more um, length of the wing to get more lift, I suppose. I think that's how it works. And then you have, let's see, you got a green kind of painted light. That's not a real light, but green paint there, red paint there. Rotating machine gun. You have double barrels, which is really cool. I think there's only one on the original. Yep. And you have a machine gun that goes up and down, cannon that goes up and down. And this one does not move. And they have ports for blast effects. So you can. And I'm having some trouble. You may have to use regular blast effects. Or maybe it's just this one. Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, I'm having a little trouble getting it in there. But it has pretty good side to side and a little elevation on this particular cannon. A little ratchet in there, pretty good detail. Looks like it's got a dome camera, probably for like targeting, what have you. Lots of vents. And these stabilizer fins in the front, you can rotate those around. They don't go, do they go 360? Yes, they do. Okay, I'm glad I didn't rip that apart, making it do something that's not supposed to do. That would be bad. Let's see. I do like the fact that they did not make us put a bunch of stickers on here, because the original had nothing but stickers. So Cobra symbol, the 8, the 23Z, which is interesting because I was comparing it to the original Claw and it's Z32, so they reversed it. But all of that was stickers that you had to put on. And I don't think this logo was on the original. I think there was a Cobra logo on both fins here. And again, I apologize. This is the first vehicle I have reviewed, so if I'm not, I'm looking at it, but not through the camera lens. So so bear with me. Let's see. But yeah, I'm glad there's no stickers to put on. So they had mercy on us. We didn't have to put it together, and we didn't have to put stickers on. All of this is painted on, and that's great. Paint all the way around looks really great on the top. And you have these, I guess, little struts on the back. And of course that you saw how you can put the figure in, and that helps him stand up and support the weight. So that's cool. Obviously these are probably, well, you would think they would be there. They'd be lower to protect, if this was actually real, they'd be lower to protect the legs from the heat of the engines and the blast effects, the blast of the engine and all that. But it does help it stand. So that's great. Let's see, the undercarriage. So we have detachable missiles. And let's see, I know I got one of these blast effects in here. Yeah, so you can do that. So that works. Blast effects there. And you can do that. Okay. And then, and then of course you can fit these into the engine exhaust for thrust, and that's where I think they probably should stay. That's what they're really intended for. However, the port here is recessed a little too deep. I think the peg should be just a little bit longer. I mean, it fits in okay, but I just feel like it could be a little more secure. So just be aware of that. Pretty good silver paint all the way around. That's great. We've got lights on the back, lights here, painted red. Back to the bottom. Like I said, we're talking about the missiles, and then the wingtips snap on, and then they ratchet up and down. You have the landing gear, and you can rotate them around, and there's a little more give to them too, so that's great. You can kind of get a little more side-to-side action. They're not just in there static, in one position, up and down. So it could probably, I think that's a great design, so that if it gets bumped, you're not going to immediately snap it off. So there's a little play, so that's great. And of course you can have it like that. Now, you can have a figure, hopefully you can see this, you can tell that the landing gear comes down lower than the harness, and I've had the Valkyrie in there sitting like this, so sorry I didn't show that to you earlier when I had Storm Shadow in there, but they roll very well, and you can have a figure in there and they don't scrub the ground, so you're good there. And the control handles do not hit the ground either, so that's great. Danger, red paint, that's really good. No stickers. Those stickers that I had definitely got dirty and peeled, and yeah, they were awful. So, and then they left a dirt ring when you peeled them off. So I'm glad that there's just some paint screwed together. Looks great. Lots of detail inside. There's some piping, tubing. I don't know if you can see it. So got some tubing in there. So they thought through the design of this. Rivets and here and there, and vents and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this, and it feels. I was afraid that it would feel cheap. I was afraid that it would feel flimsy. I was afraid that we'd have to put it together, but no, it's not heavy, but it feels, it feels solid. It feels well put together. So I'm quite pleased with this on a whole. So, okay. Oh, I didn't talk about so these kind of ratchet up and down the handles, and you can hear them click, and that worries me a little bit, but I'm thinking that's normal. I can see a little ratchet there, so. And they're independent, so you can, and I can't even, here I am showing it to you. Completely off camera, sorry about that. Okay, like that. And there he is, or she, the Cobra Claw with her pilot. Storm Shadow may have to borrow it from time to time to go and kidnap some Joes or rescue his Cobra Commander. Let me know what you think in the comments section, guys. Do you have it? Did you pick up as many as I did? Did you pick up more? I think it was limited to 5. I'm going to give this set a warp factor of 9.5. This is very good. The figure, the vehicle, I'm just very, very pleased with it. So warp factor of 9.5. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm coming up on, I'd like to hit 300 here, subscribers here pretty soon, and you can help me make that happen. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate y'all. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you next time.